What if your deepest pain lives in a place that doesn't speak? What if the part of you that holds the trauma isn't the one that knows how to form sentences, explain context, or give logical meaning? What if it's stored somewhere quieter, deeper, where language doesn't reach? There are wounds you carry that don't respond to words. You may have tried to describe them, to others, to yourself. You've named the feelings, analyzed the patterns, told and retold the story, but somehow the story stays stuck. The emotions stay raw, as if the act of speaking them can't quite set them free. That's where something different begins. EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, offers a path not of explanation, but of experience. It doesn't ask you to speak your pain. It asks you to witness it, to let it move. And in that movement, something shifts, because trauma doesn't just live in your thoughts. It lives in your nervous system, in your breath, your muscles, your heart rate, in the way you flinch before a sound, in the way your body tenses before your mind knows why. It lives in the body like an echo, repeating itself, even when you've forgotten where it started. You can't reason your way out of a startle response. You can't debate a racing heart into slowing down. Trauma is physical, and EMDR speaks that language. The process might look strange at first, following the movement of a hand, a light, or a tone, left, right, your eyes shifting side to side. But under the surface, something remarkable is happening. The brain is reprocessing the memory, not deleting it, not hiding it, but pulling it out of frozen storage, letting it thaw, and finding a new place for it. A safer place, one where it no longer defines you. Science calls it bilateral stimulation, a way to activate both hemispheres of the brain. It works with the same networks that consolidate memory during REM sleep. It taps into the brain's natural capacity to heal when given the chance. Because memory isn't a fixed archive, it's a living story. And every time you recall it, you can, consciously or not, change its tone. Think of watching a movie. If the music is ominous, a peaceful scene feels tense. If the lighting is warm, a painful scene feels bittersweet. EMDR doesn't change what happened. It changes the internal soundtrack. It softens the sharpness. It restores choice to a moment where you once had none. Now, talk therapy can be powerful. It offers reflection, validation, context. But for trauma, words can sometimes only circle the wound, never touch it. Insight isn't always enough. It's like trying to reboot a frozen computer by typing faster. You don't need more words. You need a different language. And EMDR offers that. Not through hypnosis, not through analysis, but through what feels like deep attention. It's a state of being fully present without needing to explain. A quiet watching, a surrendering. You sit with the memory. You follow the rhythm. And somehow, your nervous system begins to tell the truth it couldn't say before. This isn't a new idea. Across cultures, rhythm and motion have always been part of healing. Think of indigenous rituals involving drumming and eye contact, Sufi whirling, where movement becomes a trance. Even the way mothers rock their children. Left, right, calming the chaos with pattern and presence. EMDR doesn't come from nowhere. It's a rediscovery, a way of remembering how the body heals when the mind gets out of the way. And yet, not everyone sees it this way. Some critics call it pseudoscience, a trend, a placebo with clever branding. But what they often miss is the quiet discomfort EMDR causes in traditional models of therapy. It works, often quickly, without long verbal insight, without the therapist interpreting, without the client understanding every detail. And that challenges the systems built on expertise and talk. It invites humility. Because healing, it turns out, doesn't always need to be intellectual. Sometimes it needs to be somatic. Sometimes it needs to be simple. You might think EMDR is only for people with deep trauma, war, abuse, disaster. And yes, it is used for PTSD, but its reach goes further. An athlete unblocks the fear that made them freeze under pressure. An artist reconnects to a lost sense of flow. A business leader stops self-sabotaging right before success, because at the root of so many blocks is a memory, a pattern, a belief born from an old wound. And when that shifts, quietly, non-verbally, everything else does too. That's the paradox. EMDR asks so little. You don't need to relive everything. You don't need to make perfect sense. You simply notice and allow. And through that allowing, things move. But of course, not everyone has access. Training in EMDR is expensive. Sessions can be hard to find or unaffordable. Cultural adaptation is still catching up. Some people may never hear of it. Others may be told it's not for them. So we must ask, who gets to heal this way? And how can we expand that circle? Digital EMDR apps are beginning to emerge. group sessions, hybrid models, even guided self-administered protocols. The future of healing might not look like a couch and a clipboard. It might look like light, rhythm, and breath. But with innovation comes responsibility. Healing is not a commodity. It is a human right, and any method that offers it must be offered with care, with ethics, and with deep respect for those it aims to serve. In the end, EMDR reminds us of something simple, that healing is not always loud. It is not always linear, and it is not always logical. Sometimes healing is quiet. It moves in rhythm, in stillness, in motion, in the flicker of the eyes and the breath between memories. Sometimes it doesn't start with a story. Sometimes it starts with a gaze that dares to look again, and to see not just the pain, but the way through it.